Imagine a typical RPG world, a hero, quest, magic, all to save reality from collapse. But what if you are secretly manipulated into being on the wrong side? Like in the Matrix, you made to think that you are Neo, but in reality you might be an agent, the one who fights for the system without even knowing it. But how exactly can the game make you fight for the wrong side and still trick you into believing you are the hero? It won't work with the Matrix. You know the story, but here you don't. You are tricked, and that starts long before the beginning. To see that, we need to look at the story of Crimson Desert. First, the story the game wants us to believe, and then the real story tries to hide. Hi, I'm Ivan01. Today we're discussing an interesting theory, my theory. This is a game about Kliff. He is a warrior. He gets killed right at the beginning. In the afterlife, he appears in a strange place, maybe Valhalla. But then our character is revived by witches. They call themselves defenders or protectors. They give him a cryptic mission to save the world because it's about to collapse, but nothing else. Basically, from that point, the story divides into two separate stories. The magical part of this world that holds reality together as one is about to be destroyed. We must save it. The other story is about revenge, to kill the one that attacked our clan. But the problem with the story is that it comes to you. What does it mean? You'd expect these stories to unfold like a detective story. You have some information but not all of it, and eventually you will find out what's going on based on clues. But that's another game, not this one. Here, the moment you feel that you're about to be given a clue, something else happens. And if that doesn't happen, the story doesn't move. For instance, we find a beggar. We help him and the lady in the sewers. We save her. But only because of that, we would be worthy. Or we see a loud explosion. We could hope that it will lead us to something that is about to destroy the world. But in reality, just after that quest, we get a letter from a defender to go to an institute, which leads us to the story of the experiments with the other dimension, the one we might think as Valhalla. It's not. The dimension is called the Abyss. That's where the defenders are. So basically, without orders from the defenders, the story wouldn't move forward. If that bothers you too, subscribe. Some say it's a design flaw, bad writing. Not only because of how the story advances, but because the crucial information is hidden till the end. This information cannot be read before we finish the full story. Only then are we allowed to read these books in the library where we met the first defender, Alustin. Some say this is lazy writing, but what if it isn't bad writing at all? I suggest thinking about it through the lore of the game. What if we believe that it's intentional? What if it's a key to understand the true story? Imagine what would happen if Kliff found out all of that. There is an answer right there. In the books, it is said that if he is approached directly, he ignores the calling. So what's the theory? The theory is we are guided. The defenders not only guide Kliff, but also guide us, because we see the story through his eyes. We think Kliff is a good guy. We think the defenders are the good ones. We are guided by them. But our perspective is controlled. There might be a bigger picture that they are hiding. Today, we will look at the story again, but this time as if we already had the missing information. So the story starts with us being attacked by another clan leader. We play as Kliff. We are gray mans. We are attacked by black bears. Our leader has already been killed by them. We are just hiding. But they chase us. They destroy us once again. Our clan gets scattered. But even before we meet the defenders, they guide the story. Why? Because in fact, this is not the first time. How's that? The defenders have the ability to reset the world at will. This is the 108th cycle they have created, and every time they tweak something. Every time some die, some leave, they basically decide if something will happen or not. There are even cycles where the gray mans do not get attacked by the black bears, or where our leader doesn't get killed, or where the gray mans join the black bears. They're enemies in this cycle. These reboots give us a hint. That's the core loop in the Matrix. They also reset the world once it reaches its peak or something goes wrong. So back to Abyss. Initially we might think that this is some sort of Valhalla because of the barbaric and Nordic theme of the game, and because it looked like we got killed. But later in the story we'll learn that this world is called the Abyss, the parallel dimension. It is located in the sky, unreachable for anybody without special powers. That's the place where we find the defenders. One looks like a witch that can transform into crow. The other looks like a librarian. But there is a catch you don't know about. This part of the world doesn't reset with each cycle. Every time you meet one of them, just know they know what happened in the previous cycles. They know how you failed, and everything they do is to guide you, to pave the path for you where you won't fail. But not only that, they change Kliff himself, your personality, with every cycle less and less. Too emotional? Doesn't work. Strip it. Too brave? Strip it. Too lonely? Give him some allies, stripped of any unnecessary emotions. How? Do you remember the first quest? This one activates kindness. Since cycle 98, they have found it useful. They engineer these situations specifically to jumpstart certain characteristics. They don't treat Kliff like a person. They treat him like a weapon. They adjust him, they sharpen him, and then they point him at the enemy. Basically, that's a completely different Kliff from the one he was in cycle 1. But who are we fighting against? Later in the game, we discover the ultimate evil, Umbra. It wants to open some gates and have all the power of the Abyss. Basically, if it succeeds, the world will end. Umbra is a being of the Abyss. Guess what? Umbra doesn't reset. He knows everything as well. So each and every time the defenders reset the world, their goal is to defeat Umbra. The defenders basically change history with every cycle. For instance, until cycle 40, the defenders experimented with the clan wars. They can shape history so much that there was not even a war in some cycles. For more than 30 cycles, the leader of the Grey Mains wasn't killed. He was a mentor to Kliff. In some cycles, the Grey Mains sided with the Black Bears. Kliff was friends with the one who was the leader of the Black Bears, the one who killed him. Just imagine that! The defenders don't care about people, they care about their goals. If something doesn't go according to plan, they tweak whatever they want, no matter how big the change is. Kill the leader of the Grey Mains? Start a war with the Black Bears? No problem! So our revival is neither an act of mercy nor a miracle. Our first death is the result of their actions. as our revival. Who knows how many people were killed or never existed because of such decisions? Everything for the greater good, right? So it won't be a surprise to you that Kliff gets information step by step. Otherwise, the defenders would have to answer some really awkward questions. Kliff is told about the mission, but nothing more than what is needed right now. The clues about where to go next come to him too conveniently. The truth he knows is very specific, very controlled. But do you see that? The defenders control not only his perspective, but the players too. Why? Because at some point we save people in the castle. At one point a local lord receives a gift, the beast, nearly dead. They try to kill him in front of other citizens and nobles. The beast gets loose. We bravely defeat him. Everyone is saved. We are the hero. Basically, they tortured him in front of everyone. If it were portrayed not as a beast, but as a human, would you feel like a hero? Nope. For what reason do they torture him? No one tells us, but I will. During the first 17 cycles, this beast was our ally. It is the same creature, it talks, it helps, but at some point it becomes too much of a strain to make people continue to see and accept this beast as Kliff's ally. The defenders accept a reality where people torture him. Kliff basically tries to kill his friend here. Not much of a hero moment. Do you think he and the player would agree if they knew? But we move further in the story. We gather our allies and clan members. We free our homeland. The rival clans are defeated, except their leader, the one who killed us at the beginning. Why? Because he was granted some magical powers. He runs away, but while we're trying to find him, we find out that the entire clan war was orchestrated. In this reality, there is a duke named Caliburn. As we were told, he is a really bad guy. We are even shown how he slaughtered the entire room of nobles, just because they opposed his rule. Clearly the bad guy. But it turns out we already met him once. It was during the mission in the Institute. The Institute experimented with portals to another dimension, the Abyss. But it didn't go well. That's when we see this cryptic man with some powers. Here we see him in the past. But Caliburn attacks us through time itself. He possesses the power to manipulate time. The fierce fight, we are bravely alive, but we are stuck in the past of Duke Caliburn. That's the moment when we get saved by the witches. We still don't know how Caliburn got his powers. We might think that the grand evil gave it to him. But do you still remember that this world is one of the cycles? Yep, Caliburn is a part of it. Moreover, he is a result of it. There was no Caliburn till cycle 72. Just imagine that! The whole conflict, the motivation, it simply didn't exist. So, who did the slaughter? It was Caliburn, but he was created as a result of such resets. The grand evil, Umbra, he saw what the defenders were doing. That's why Caliburn appeared. And if we think more deeply, Caliburn's time travel powers might not be time travel at all. Maybe they are just memories of the past, or maybe they allow him to reach a past or a future cycle. Every time we dig deeper, we run into more lies. Lies created by the defenders. Basically, now we know that Caliburn is connected to the Abyss. He knows something. That means this world is not real for him. It's a fiction created by the Defenders to defeat Umbra. But if Caliburn knows about that, it might mean to him that all the people he killed are not real. The Abyss is the real world for him. It's like in the Matrix. Trinity and Morpheus are terrorists in this world. They kill, but not people, agents. The world sees them as criminals, but we know they aren't. In same way, you may see Caliburn. The Defenders created this reality, and he knows it. That does not make him good. But from his perspective, this world may be an illusion, and the people inside it may not feel real to him. Meanwhile, as Kliff, we move on. We have an enemy, a purpose. We need to defeat Caliburn, because we think he gave the powers to Mjordan, the one who killed us at the beginning of the journey. But we were told that we were not ready. That's when we go through the trials. Basically, these trials are engineered by the Defenders. Why? Because they know we would otherwise fail. How do they know? Obviously, from the previous cycle. Nothing hard, but there is an interesting encounter with a guy. He seems to be an old gray man, but we have never seen him before. We don't recognize him. His name is Gwen, the old man, but fights like a beast. We learn a lot from him. So what's interesting about him? It's Kliff, but from another cycle. There was one where everything went wrong. Kliff got trapped in the abyss in cycle 99. It proves one more time, what's in the abyss doesn't reset. One more reference, the abyss is like the real world in the Matrix. Since then, Gwen has appeared in every other cycle as a mentor to himself, but even he doesn't know the whole truth, since the books are only available after the whole quest line. He is just stuck, a convenient tool for the Defenders. Meanwhile, Kliff becomes ready for the final encounter. It seems that Caliburn has a fortress in the sky. It protects his base. It instantly kills anybody who dares to come near. But how to bring it down? The nearby orcs fight against the machines. They might have such a weapon that will bring it down. We help, they tell the story. The story of a fella inventor. He created a whole futuristic city. Robots, AI, even his own hologram. He created the flying fortress, but the inventor is gone. His mirror hologram is left to guide and rule indefinitely. But the AI he created goes rogue. It reaches the abyss. It becomes corrupted. It becomes a dictator. His robots start to attack everyone. Doesn't all this feel familiar? The machines, the AI, the code, the agents. Do you remember the story of Agent Smith from the Matrix? In the Matrix, he was the one who reached the real world, the corrupted one. But we move further to reach Caliburn. This is the moment where there is no room for an accident. Everything the Defenders orchestrated must happen. We find the hologram, we strike a deal. It's simple. Help him defeat the AI, get the weapon to bring down the flying fortress. But to destroy it, we must defeat a giant mechanical dragon. Our friendly dragon saves us at the last moment. The mechanical dragon defeated. His weapons are the key to destroy the flying base. Did you feel the shift? The medieval setting suddenly has machines, robots, AI. Do you feel that it doesn't fit well in this world? That's because it wasn't originally supposed to be there. It's a byproduct of the Defenders' actions. This inventor starts to appear only in cycle 48. They did something. It means that Kliff is not only thing that is different, but the whole world is different. A once medieval world with magic is now filled with machines. But they don't care. Even the dragon. How on earth are we the only ones who have obtained the dragon? Let's see how it happens. There was a mission a bit earlier when we saved the dragon. That's the tricky part. Again, we do not get any instructions or quests according to the lore. We just happen to find him and save him from the spears. That's why the dragon helps us to defeat the mechanical dragon. That's why we are only ones who can fly him. What a lucky coincidence! Does it seem fishy? Right! That's another manipulation from the defenders. It's not a coincidence. In cycle 89 they created a situation in which the dragon was pierced by spears and needed to be saved by us. Otherwise, as you may guess, he would simply kill Kliff. Another lie. The defenders don't seem so good. They'll do anything to pursue their goal. Kliff thinks he found an ally, but it was all staged for him. Basically, the defenders tortured the dragon. But bear with me, it's not over. There is more. We bring down the flying fortress. We reach Caliburn. The defenders want us to prevent Caliburn reaching the abyss. But he manages to do that. Now we must follow Caliburn. But to do so, we must connect the bridges in the abyss. Funny thing, another reference. The other dimension, which is not reset from cycle to cycle, needs power to run. Why on earth do the flying islands need power? Yes, I get it. They needed to power up the teleport. But the pipes themselves remind us of electricity. The system. Another analogy with the Matrix. There is also the most obvious one. The way the character teleports through the world. It basically transforms the world into the Matrix. We finally reach Caliburn. The fight. He is no joke. We see he used his powers to manipulate time and create remnants of himself. But a strange thought occurs. Umbra never rewound the world. The grand evil Umbra can't reset the world. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a battle at all. If Umbra could reset time, then it would do what the defenders did. That means that the defenders control reality. They create it. They strip Kliff of his personality. They play with the fates. There are people who don't even exist in this reality, like the prince from cycle 53. They do not shy away from torturing anyone. They start wars, they kill people, they kill whole nations. The whole motivation for the war is artificial. If that's not the pure definition of dictatorship, what is? The fight moves further. Once we defeat Caliburn, Mjordan attacks, the one who killed us in the beginning, but he is enhanced by the abyss, by Umbra. He wanted us to join Umbra, and Kliff indeed joined. But that was in cycle 107, the cycle just before the current one. He was perfect, yet he joined Umbra. This time, he is the same, but in the final cycle, the defenders hint that whoever it may be, we only hope they can fulfill our wish. So what is different this time? This is where you can't miss the Matrix analogy. We see the last incarnation of the chosen one, the one expected to finally make the difference. Once we defeat Mjordan, we face Umbra in the form of a white angel. Isn't it supposed to be black? The black witch attacked us. The black crowd tried to bring the white crowd to her. Black is a sign of evil in this game. But the grand evil is a white angel? That's the moment when I thought, who told us that Umbra is evil? The defenders, the same ones who hid the truth, who manipulated Kliff, who changed history, who accepted torture, wars and death. So, why should this be different? So what is this world really? If they reset it, rewrite it and control what we see, then maybe it is not a world anymore. It is a system controlled by them, and Kliff is their weapon. Just like Neo was in the Matrix, the chosen one. He was an essential part of the system. Every previous one helped restart it. Neo broke the cycle. Why? Because of something unexpected. Trinity, love, the one variable the system could not anticipate. But isn't Kliff the chosen one? Stripped of all emotions, adjusted, controlled by the defenders, he is the opposite. Neo fights the system. Kliff protects the system. He defends the artificially created dictatorship, the prison. This world is full of wars, torture, and people getting killed. Lives that were changed. They all serve one purpose: to keep the defenders in power. All of that becomes permanent. Just think, 107 times in every cycle where they allowed Umbra or Mjolnir to talk, Kliff joined them, except this one. What's changed? They say, whoever it may be, we only hope they can fulfill our wish. They break the fourth wall. They are no longer talking about Kliff. They are talking to whatever controls him. That's you. That's me. It's the player. That's what's different. We are just not allowed to hear Umbra's side of the story. Why? Because they know the risk. Kliff sided with Umbra before, and if the player heard the truth, we might do the same. So Kliff is not only one who has to be manipulated, the player does too, and that is easier than it sounds. We like to think of ourselves as a hero, as Neo, somebody special, someone chosen to save the world. The defenders give us exactly that story, but in reality, we are their agent. Do you see the irony? We are connected to the machine, just like in the Matrix. The defenders use their abilities to control us, to create that kind of illusion. We are the chosen ones. But we are not Neo. We are chosen by machines. We are the piece that changes the game, their last hope. And the defenders don't even hide it once you defeat Umbra. Umbra may have been the only force that could end their rule, and we destroyed him. That's the opposite of happy ending. We are the villain in this story. But don't get me wrong. If this theory is true, then this is a great story, a rare one. In a world full of happy endings, this game tricks you on so many levels. It makes you believe you are the hero. And by the end, you realize what role you were actually playing. As a book, this could have been brilliant, but I do understand the controversy around the ending. First, most of the real story is delivered through books. This breaks one of the most fundamental rules of visual storytelling: show, don't tell. Second, It is incredibly easy to miss. The books only become available after the final events, and reading them is optional. You see the credits and you have no reason to imagine that there is still so much left to uncover. Third, the story is presented as if it were a mystery, as if you are supposed to follow the clues and figure out what is happening. But in reality, it is mostly a barrage of events that cannot be understood when they happen. They are designed to be explained later, not deduced by the player. But that is the story they chose to tell. A story in which the villain succeeds. A story that makes you his accomplice without ever giving you a reason to question whether you are on the right side. And that's the end of the Crimson Desert main campaign and the theory. I want you to share your thoughts. I want you to think about whether this theory is possible, or are we missing something? Maybe you notice some facts that I'm missing, facts that could not have been planted by the defenders. I'm thrilled to hear what you think. But for now, see you later.